on behalf of my father and my brother Phil and I, as well as our families, we would like to welcome you all to our Mother's Memorial Service. There are so many faces that we recognize here as you came in, and we appreciate the support that you are showing us. I see so many of my mother's dear friends, people from her euchre, people from her Mahjong club, people from her beloved garden clubs. I met her judges are here from Virginia Beach, as well as family friends from my brother and our friends too. So we thank you all. I want you to know that my mother's family, our French family, is also with us today in spirit. It is 8 p.m. in France right now, and members of our French family have gathered to support our service. My cousin wrote these beautiful words to us this morning that I'd like to read. Today is a very emotional day, and we decided to come together to support you. We hope that our prayers and our love will come to you to keep you in peace. We also hope that these thoughts will help our Tata Hélène to take the path of life driven by the love of her husband, her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and of course her French family. God rest her soul. My mother was loved. There is no doubt about that. And we want to welcome and thank you for joining us in this memorial and this celebration of her wonderful life.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Schrader. I'm actually a substitute. My wife was going to offer the prayer today, but she's spent the last 4 days in bed with some kind of stomach virus. So Charlie and Phil and Joelle, she's very disappointed she couldn't do this. Elaine and I have lived next door to Charlie and Helene for the past 5 years. In that brief time, we have become very fond of them and shared many good times together, particularly cards every weekend. Helen Steiner Rice once wrote, "All who believe in God's mercy and grace will meet their loved ones face to face, where time is endless and joy unbroken, and only the words of God's love are spoken." Would you join me in prayer, please? Our loving Heavenly Father, as we meet this afternoon to remember our dear friend and loved one, Helene Gardner, we know you are with us, the God of all comfort, the God of all mercy, and the God of all grace. We are here because we love her and miss her. We want to honor her as we cherish our memories of Helene and celebrate her life. Please help us support one another as we grieve her passing. A passing from life here with us to an everlasting life with you, O Lord. Father, we thank you for creating Helene and giving us an opportunity to know her. You formed her and you knew her for nearly 85 years. And even now, we have confidence that she is in your presence. Thank you that you are a God of mercy who promises to comfort us, particularly when we lose loved ones. Now, in these moments, and in the weeks and months ahead, please bring comfort and mercy to the family and to us as we remember and fondly share all that Helene has meant to us. In the mighty and holy name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Amen.
Forgive me if I have a hard time with this. I really love Mehmet deeply, so it might be tough. But my name is Jacob Bachman, and I'm the grandson-in-law of Mehmet. Mehmet and I had a really awesome relationship. We connected at hearts. Our hearts like the first day that we met each other. And I know Pepe knows, she was like the quintessential grandma. She told this story like 30 or 40 times. Like every time I saw Meme, she'd always tell me the same story about the first time that we met. But it was, and I always acted like I didn't remember the story. But I'd always act surprised, but I remember the story. I remembered every detail of that day. See, Meme and Pepe were visiting Devin Phil, who lived in King George on the Northern Neck at the time. And I had been dating Becky for about 8 months or so. And they were all busy, and Meme and Pepe decided to take me to lunch. So we got in the car, and we drove to Applebee's in Central Park in Fredericksburg. And I had these little riblet things for lunch, and we had like this really awesome conversation. And, you know, you just have to imagine, I'm a 16, 17-year-old kid from a small town in Virginia. Meme was a 68-year-old lady from anywhere else but that small town in Virginia. So we shouldn't really have had much in common, but we had one huge thing in common. And that's that we both loved her granddaughter with our whole heart. And ever since that day, Meme's loved me with her whole heart. And I love her. And I know that Deb and Sheila and Adam and Neil and Brian, you guys have felt that. If you love her family, she loved you. She had a huge heart. But Meme was much more than that. I mean, she had the presence and like the class of a queen. She had like the grace and the beauty of an angel. You see, Meme, you have to imagine like a little girl growing up in war-torn France, surrounded by darkness, destruction, and hate. And from that came a woman that was just full of life and love and beauty. She brought that to the world every day of her life. And everything that she did exuded beauty. From her flower arrangements to her gardens. I'd never seen anything like the gardens that she had at her house. I mean, her Christmas tree could have been put in the White House, like these things. And she didn't have one Christmas tree, she had two of like the nicest Christmas trees I'd ever seen. I mean, her paintings, you guys will get to see those things. They're awesome. She had like this unique culture to her that we're not used to in the States, you know. And every time I would go to a family function and I knew Meme was there, I would always seek her out to find her first so that I could get that warm hug, that kiss on the cheek, and that sweet French accent. She was just a really unique person. I mean, she had her own swim stroke, you know, like she would go up in the water, and all the kids would follow her around the pool. My kids still swim around in the pool like that. And I mean, Meme and I, we both love to cook, right? And I would always go, and a lot of times we would share a kitchen together because we both were always in the kitchen. I'd go and I'd pull out the biggest butcher knife I could find, and I'd whop, 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 whop. And I think I was so efficient, you know, like a typical American person, and try to get through the pineapple or whatever I was getting through. And I'd look over, and Meme would always have a little paring knife. She'd be whittling like this carrot or something. I would realize that, you know, it wasn't about the efficiency. It was that she was just pouring her whole heart into everything that she did, and she wanted to make this food for her family the best that she could. So she poured her heart and soul into it. And see, that's just like a small part of her legacy that lives on in me, but I know that she has, everyone here has some part of her legacy that they're taking with them. She's not gone. I know that because, when I hug Becky or Pepe or Phil, I can feel it. I can feel her. She's still here. And she's never going to leave our side. She's always going to be here with us. So before I go, I'd just like to say a prayer for Meme. God, thank you for Meme. Thank you for her light and the love and the beauty that she brought to this world every day of her life. Thank you for inviting her back into your home, into your kingdom, and into her mama's arms again. God, please help comfort and show your grace and your mercy to Phil and Joelle and Pepe and the rest of the family in coping with the loss of such a beautiful person. We love you, Meme. Amen.
Amen.
Charles, Joelle, Phil, and family. We are here today to celebrate the life of Helene Lucienne Gardner. There are 3 types of people. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who have no idea what's happening. I'm here today to tell you Helene Lucienne Gardner made things happen. My name is Glenda Knowles, and Helene was my friend. Life brings many people into our lives. I am so grateful for email. Do you realize how many people can interact with email? If it were not for email, I would probably have never met this incredible lady who became my best friend in Colonial Heritage. At my computer, just about 7 years ago, I received an email from Helene saying that she recently moved to Harrington Commons, and Frances Thrash had given her my email address. She wanted to ride with me to the Tidewater Judges Council meeting if I were attending. So, early on that Monday morning in January 2010, I stopped in front of 4243 Harrington Commons, and this delightful French lady opened the passenger door and got in. Did you know that via email, you do not know if that person is French, English, or That was the beginning of many trips we shared as traveling judges to conventions, judges meetings, SAR conventions, symposiums, and flower shows. Helene and I traveled the state of Virginia from Roanoke to Wintergreen, Stanton, Madison, Lynchburg, Charlottesville, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and Portsmouth. I told her and friends that she was the best roommate ever. When our alarm went off in the mornings, Helene's feet hit the floor. She was in the shower. She was not a morning conversationalist. I was thankful for her. We just enjoyed our first cup of coffee together as we dressed for the day. And for every one of those meetings, she stepped out of our room looking just like the stylish, lovely, chic lady that she was. She was also very, very proud of becoming a National Garden Club's master judge. It takes a number of years and many hours of study, taking exams, entering flower shows, judging flower shows, writing flower show schedules, and then the killer of them all, point scoring. Charles even went along with Helene to Charlotte, North Carolina for her to attend the symposium to allow her to stay on the ladder to the highest judging level. I will never forget our trip to Wintergreen for the last symposium that was required for her to point score and to pass to achieve master status. That was a physically stressful symposium in a ski lodge with no elevators and the bedroom space also on the upper loft level. Now you imagine ladies at our very mature age lugging suitcases, etc., up and down staircases, hallways in a ski lodge. But the fun part was coming home when I put my address in the GPS and the voice took us on the scenic Blue Ridge Parkway just before dark. Scenic it was, with serious drop-offs on either side of that narrow parkway. Helene would never know how serious I was on that, nervous I was on that trip home. Perhaps she did, as she was a very quiet passenger all the way to Williamsburg. Another memorable trip was coming home from the SAR convention in Roanoke with the snow so heavy we could not see 2 feet ahead. You probably didn't know this, Charles and Fred. You could not see 2 feet ahead or beside us as we crossed Afton Mountain. Helene, calm as a cucumber, says, "Are you okay?" Perhaps she did not see my white knuckles on her back. I know now that God had his guardian angels around that car for all those many, many trips and adventures we took. Okay, in 2011, on one of our many car excursions, Helene asked me about starting a garden club in Colonial Heritage. Would I help her if the HOA would approve it? And that was the very beginning of our now 5-year-old club with 62 members. Betsy Edwards and Sandy Campbell Parrish joined the effort right away as we met to apply for the charter, write bylaws, and plan an "Are you interested?" meeting. Helene's passion was to share her love of floral design and garden clubs. The whole effort to start the club was to make sure it was connected to the National Garden Clubs. Otherwise, flower show schools, landscape schools, etc. would not be applicable to her expertise and knowledge through becoming a flower show judge. She had that passion to achieve the very best for her family. She wanted to excel, and she wanted you to be proud of her. Helene has shared her knowledge with not only Colonial Heritage Club members, but with Berkeley Garden Club, the Tidewater District, and the Williamsburg Council, as well as many other local clubs as a judge, and continuing to chair and enter flower shows. She was a district director and served on the state board for 2 years. All of us, her neighbors, garden club friends, Mahjong friends, euchre friends, are so blessed that God placed this lovely couple, Helene and Charles, in our part of the world. Helene chose to give back to everyone she met, all that she could. We are all better because of Helene Lucien Gardner. Last week, when I visited Helene, I told her I was looking forward to sharing our love of flowers with God and in God's lovely heavenly garden, and that perhaps He would allow us to serve on the Heavenly Flower Guild. So, family and friends, I miss my friends so much, but look forward to seeing her in God's heavenly garden. Helene took literally bloom wherever you are planted.
I'd like to read a letter to you that was sent by my mother's sister, who's in the picture in front of me there. Hélène, my beloved sister, you were 12 years old when I was born in Châteauroux, France. You have been a wonderful sister and also a little mother to me. We shared the same bedroom, the same fun. You were my sunshine, always merry, always full of life. You danced and you sang often. And then we grew up, and you married Charles, who was immediately integrated into our family, and then you founded your own family. What a pleasure it was for me to be a babysitter for my cute little Joelle and my nounours fille. Charles' professional transfers have taken you far away from us. I was always so eager to see you again. When I was 18 years old, you welcomed me to San Antonio. What a wonderful experience. On to my turn, I married Denis, and we continued to visit you in several countries, Turkey, Germany, the United States. It was always a great pleasure to receive you in Nancy, too. You visited often, and you cooked so well. Every Sunday we called to tell each other small or great events of the week. I will miss this weekly appointment, my beloved sister. What a joy to be able to gather together the American and the French families last June in Annecy, where Denny and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. You were in better form than ever, and I must tell you that your speech at the reception touched us very much. And that's that, my sweet sister. Now it is time to say goodbye. Of course, I have tears in my eyes as I write this, but your love, your good memories, your family helping Charles, along with those close ties and love from the French family, give me serenity. Where you are now, you certainly have found our dear mother. Take care of us henceforth. Continue to give us your strength and your love by thought. Your last words for me, my little sister, I love you. Stay forever in my mind. I love you also, very, very much. Annie.
Hi, I'm Brian Lee. I'm Helen and Charles' favorite son-in-law. I'd like to bring to you some passage from the Apostle Paul, who writes in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8, that love is patient, love is kind, it is not envy, it is not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails. The reason that I'm reading this is because that passage describes Helen Gardner to me. She was loved, and she is loved. She was patient, she was kind, and she never failed any of us. Helen has been a part of my life for 42 years, thanks to her daughter, Joelle. And those years have been very, very wonderful. And she will always be in my memory, always. So what I want to thank Mehmet for are those memories But more importantly, that yes that she said to that young American airman from Iowa, Charles Gardner. Because by saying yes, she defined the past 42 years of my life. So what I want to say to Helen is, merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup.
I think I only know a fraction of the audience, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Becky. I am one of Helen's grandchildren. I've written her a letter, and I'd like to read that to you today. My sweet Meme, it is hard to put into words how special you are to me. My life has been filled with such fond memories of you since the day I was born, and I want to take a moment to thank you for all those beautiful memories and share them with everyone else here whose life you have also touched in some special way. My memories of you are as vivid as you were, and many of them involve singing and dancing. You used to dance with me in your arms when I was a baby in front of the mirror in your Columbus house and sing to me, "Shall we dance?" As I grew older, there was more singing and dancing with you, my sister and my cousins. Singing French songs you taught us, practicing dance routines and other theatrical performances we like to put on for you, Pepe, and our parents. You read us books about the little French girl Bécassine with such animation and used different voices for each character. You were our muse. We spent hours and hours in the pool with you as you would swim your laps, following along like your little ducklings, and you would sing beep beep if any of us were in your way. You were a patient and tender grandmother, and my sister and I were so lucky that you lived just down the street from us in Panama City. I recall a few special mornings when it was just the two of us in your kitchen, and you would let me have a small amount of coffee with my milk. You would make me fried eggs sunny side up and taught me how to soak up the yolk with a piece of buttered toast. I felt like such a grown-up. You always found ways to make us individually feel so special in your presence. You were a very hands-on grandmother. You got on your hands and knees and played with us as if you were a child yourself. You were truly a child at heart. You did the same with my children. Even when you were sick and in pain, this Christmas I know you were not feeling well, but you still played with the kids in the basement and made special memories with them. You were the most humble and kind person I know. You weren't bothered when we playfully imitated your French accent. You laughed right along with us. You are a very regal and classy woman. You also had a very charming, sometimes inappropriate sense of humor. This is one of the things I loved most about you. We would see the silly side of you come out while playing games like Things, where we'd be shocked to learn some of the more risque responses came from our sweet, unassuming Meme. You were so much fun. I have so many memories of all of us laughing so hard we were crying. You were filled with so much joy. In this world, it's hard to become jaded and cynical, but you looked at the world differently. You chose to see the wonderful and beautiful in life, and I doubt you look back on your life with any regrets. You did not take the simple pleasures in life for granted. I remember you would eat tangerines like they were candy, and I once asked you why you liked them so much. You explained that growing up during the war, fruits like tangerines were so scarce that they were like candy. I enjoyed every minute spent with you, but I also took our time together for granted. You were so healthy and full of life, and your mother lived to be 100, so I thought we had plenty of time left. You leaving us sooner than expected is a great reminder that life is way too short, even if you live it perfectly. Meme, you have inspired me to choose joy in life. To get down on my hands and knees and play with my kids, sing and dance with them, be silly and goofy with them. To look past the ugliness of life and choose to see the beauty and wonder in this world. What a gift you have given me. Thank you, Meme. I will miss you terribly, but I know that we will sing and dance together again one very special day. I love you.
I'm a very lucky girl to have had this beautiful, intelligent, gracious, charming, creative woman as my mother-in-law for almost 4 decades. From almost the moment she met me, she welcomed me into her heart and into her family. When Phil was a midshipman in Navy ROTC in college and was away one summer for 6 weeks, Helene invited me over several times so we could talk about the man we both loved, and so she could get to know me better. At first it was a little awkward, but after a couple of meetings I knew this woman was very special and had the warmest heart and kindest soul. As many of you know, she was an artist, always creating things of beauty with her hands and her heart, whether she was painting, knitting a blanket, arranging flowers, or making a beautiful meal. She did it with tremendous love. Her family was her life, and she was our heart. After her first grandchild, Nick, was born, she became Meme to all of us. Her grandchildren and great-grandchildren would light up her eyes when the little ones would visit, whether it was her grandchildren or her great-grandchildren. She would stop whatever she was doing, as Becky said, and play hide and seek, have a tea party, dance with them, or teach them French lullabies. She knew how important it was to enjoy the moment and cherish those children. It is a good lesson for us all. Meme loved her family above all else and would do anything for any of us, except let us win a game. Fierce competitive spirit. She took her card game seriously. I can't tell you how many hours Phil and I would spend playing cards with his folks. Luckily, it was usually the girls against the guys, so I had this fierce challenger on my side. We enjoyed each other's company in so many ways. Whether we were traveling together, playing cards, or just hanging out, we had fun. We did not have the strained relationship that many often have with their in-laws. In fact, I think my brother-in-law Brian would agree that Meme treated the two of us just as she treated her children. We were her children. Meme was also a great partner when I needed her. She would accompany me on road trips when Phil was off and away on business. She'd help me clean our new military housing, help with the kids, or anything else we needed help with. She was more of a girlfriend to me than a mother-in-law. When we all lived in Florida together almost 30 years ago, they lived just down the street from us, and she watched the girls after school. My girls and I were reminiscing with her just a couple of weeks ago about those years, and she said with a sweet smile on her face, "Those were very lucky years for us." Indeed, they were. She was a nurturing grandmother, but she also took her responsibility seriously too. As my daughter Lindsay noted, if there was homework to be done, it had to be done before you were allowed to play. And if you were sick, you better really be sick, because Meme would make you rest. That means no TV. While I already miss Meme, and I know I will continue to miss her in the days and weeks and years to come, I am comforted by and cherish the many fond and joyful memories of our times together. And I know that until we meet again, that she is with me everywhere I go. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to say a word?
Mama.
If not, if you would join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Thought I'd share just a moment I had with my mother. After I said my final goodbyes to her, I was walking out of her bedroom and I saw a needle point, a frame needle point that Deb made that we gave my mother for her 50th birthday. And it had 3 French words on it. And they came from the ship's plaque. This was back when I was in the Navy, and was stationed on USS Tattnall. And the French phrase translated in English is, I will remember. So, Mémé, je me souviendrai. I know that we will all remember. I want to thank everybody for coming, and I invite you to the reception next door. Thank you very much for coming.